It's kind of weird, but have you ever thought about your beliefs like a house? A structure that you've been building your entire life, the one you live in every single day. Some parts are rock solid, for sure, but others, well, they might be a little shakier than you think.
We've all been there, right? You're talking to a friend or a family member, or maybe you've even noticed it in yourself, and there's that one belief that just will not budge. No matter what facts or evidence you throw at it, it's baffling. It really makes you wonder what makes a belief so strong that it becomes completely bulletproof.
Well, today we're going to put on our hard hats. In this explainer, we're basically becoming architects of the mind. We're going to deconstruct the whole psychological machine that builds, reinforces, and fiercely protects our most deeply held convictions. So let's grab our tools and get started with the foundation.
All right, so first things first, we've got to look at the foundation. And it turns out our brains are literally wired to build beliefs from the get-go. It's a core part of our mental operating system. Just think of your brain as a belief engine. Its whole job is to take this chaotic world and make sense of it, like fast. It'll take just a few scraps of data, a weird look from a coworker, a single headline, and instantly weave them into a full story. It's why first impressions are so incredibly powerful. They're the very first bricks laid in our foundation. But you gotta remember, the engine's goal isn't really about truth. It's about coherence. And that right there is the key. Our minds crave a world that just makes sense. We find this deep psychological comfort in ideas that just slot right into the picture we already have in our heads, kind of like finding a missing puzzle piece. This drive for a neat, tidy worldview is the bedrock everything else is built on, even if that bedrock itself has a few cracks in it. Okay, so if our brain's natural wiring is the foundation, then you can think of cognitive biases as the hidden architects. They're the contractors who come in and start putting up the walls. The big problem? These guys don't always stick to the blueprints, and they work so quietly in the background that we don't even notice them. So let's meet the lead architect on this slightly warped project, confirmation bias. This is basically our brain acting like a detective who's already decided who the culprit is before even looking at the evidence. I mean, think about it. You're researching a political candidate you already like. You know how it is. You find yourself clicking on all the good stuff, all the articles praising their policies, and you just instinctively scroll right past anything critical. You're not looking for truth. You're looking for proof that you were right all along. And this leads us to this really weird twist in how our minds work. I mean, you'd think that hitting a belief with cold, hard, contradictory facts would, make a dent, right? Logically, it should. But so often, it does the exact opposite. They call this the backfire effect. It's like our brain has this cognitive defense system that when it gets attacked by facts, it doesn't just block them. It actually uses them as raw material to build the walls of belief even higher and stronger. It's wild. Just look at the disconnect here. What we expect is a rational conversation. What we get is a psychological fortress. This is so counterintuitive because we assume people are driven by information, but a lot of the time we're driven by our identity. There have been these studies on political misinformation, right? Where they show people facts that correct a false story they believe, and for many of them, they end up believing the wrong thing even more. The challenge just feels like an attack, and so they double down. And finally, there's the sunk cost fallacy. See, we don't just have our beliefs, we're invested in them. We've spent years identifying with a certain group, or maybe built a whole career around a specific idea. To just walk away from that feels like admitting all that time, all that energy was a total waste. So even when the evidence is screaming at us that a change is needed, we just keep defending our original investment because letting go feels way too costly. But logic and bias, that's only part of the story. The real strength of our belief structure, the thing that makes it so solid, comes from something way more powerful. The emotional mortar holding all the bricks together, and the social scaffolding that supports the whole thing from the outside. This is where it gets really personal, because for so many of us, our core beliefs get all tangled up with who we are, with our identity. So when somebody questions that belief, whether it's about politics or health or whatever, it doesn't just feel like a simple debate. It feels like they're attacking us. Our beliefs are our anchor. They give us a sense of security in a really uncertain world and a powerful feeling of belonging with our tribe. That emotional glue is just incredibly strong. And today, oh man, this gets amplified by the scaffolding of our social lives. Think about your social media feeds. They are absolute masters at building an echo chamber around you. The algorithms show you stuff you already like, from people who already agree with you. It creates this perfectly curated reality where your beliefs are constantly being told they're right and are almost never challenged. So what actually happens inside that little bubble? Something called group polarization. It's this idea that when you only talk to people who already agree with you, your shared beliefs don't just stay the same, they actually get more extreme. The constant agreement in the group validates and amplifies the conviction, pushing everybody even further down the same path. So, knowing all this, that our brains are built for coherence, not truth, and that our beliefs are held up by biased architects, emotional glue, and social scaffolding, what are we supposed to do about it? How do we become better architects of our own minds? Let's take a look at some blueprints for a remodel.
Look, the goal here isn't to live in a house with no walls. It's about building a better, more flexible house, one with some windows. It all starts with intellectual humility, just admitting, hey, maybe I don't know everything. Then it takes a bit of courage to actively seek out smart people and strong arguments that actually challenge what you think. And finally, practicing empathy, really trying to understand the life experiences that built someone else's worldview, even if you completely disagree with it.
At the end of the day, we're all living inside the architecture of our own convictions. These structures protect us, they help us get through the world, but it's worth asking yourself, if your beliefs are the house you live in, when was the last time you actually went down to the basement of your own mind and took a really hard look at the foundations holding it all up?